We are more than 6 weeks past the conclusion of Democratic Institution Minister Maryam Monsef's Electoral Reform Roadshow, and when asked in the House of Commons, she still couldn't give an answer as to how much the whole endeavour cost. Nathan Cullen, a New Democratic Party Member of Parliament for Skeena-Bulkley Valley in British Columbia, asked an order paper question, which is a mechanism to get a spin-free response from the government about issues of public policy. And his question was about the electoral reform tour that Minister Monsef did. This is what he asked her. With regard to the Minister of Democratic Institutions' national tour on electoral reform, what was the cost, including venue rentals, audio-visual, advertising, accommodations, travel, and per diems to the minister and staff? How many people attended each event by location? How many attendees supported adopting a proportional voting system? And how many attendees supported holding a referendum on electoral reform? Now, his question had a number of different components to it, and the minister in her response said that about 1,500 people attended, and she listed all of the dates of these events, from the first one that kicked off the whole process in Iqaluit on August 29th, 2016, to the final one in Calgary, October 29th, 2016. But she also said in the response about the more pertinent question, the cost, that they still couldn't tabulate it. They still don't know how much it cost. Now, order paper questions are, generally speaking, ones that elicit responses from a number of ministries. They have staff that weigh in on it, and the minister has to sign off on it. So you'd think that if it was budgeted, it would have been done in advance, but well, now they still don't know how much it cost, and we are 4 months after the first one started. But there's another more concerning element of it. Nathan Cullen's question also asked how many people at these events favored proportional voting versus having a referendum. And this is what the ministry's response said. Participants of events were not asked to indicate which voting system they preferred. Participants at events were not asked for their position on an electoral reform referendum. Now, I think that most Canadians now have made their displeasure with the government's status quo on this very clear, how they're actually going about putting forward this policy. The sham of a survey, mydemocracy.ca, and its response certainly reinforced this. But Maryam Monsef, in her response to Nathan Cullen, said that people at these events were not asked whether they wanted a referendum and were not asked whether they favored proportional voting. What's the point of these town hall events if not to actually listen to Canadians? She said this was part of a conversation that she wanted to have nationally, sharing a little bit about what the government was doing and hearing from Canadians, learning from Canadians. If they weren't asking Canadians what they think, well, this was only a one-way street of communication, which is what I predicted about this months ago. And if they did actually hear what Canadians wanted and they're not sharing them in the House of Commons, that means they didn't like the response, which further underscores the need for a referendum on this. If Maryam Monsef wants to keep up this sham of a consultation anymore, she has to try a little bit harder. If you were there to talk to Canadians, then why does your own response in the House of Commons say you didn't ask people what they thought? For the Rebel.media, I'm Andrew Lawton. If you like what you see here, make sure to check out the Rebel.media for lots more great content, and check out the premium memberships. Cheap, and you will learn so much more about what's happening in the world than you will anywhere else. Only at the Rebel.media.